Welcome to Sex Positive Gaming. I'm Annie, and today we're going to look at the top 10 adult gaming Patreons based on subscriber count as of December 1st, 2021. We'll see which games have moved into the top 10 over the last year, as well as what new content has released in 2021. We'll also sadly talk about Patreon removing 2020's number 3 overall game for content issues. 2021 was another record year for the adult game space on Patreon, with almost 1,200 new Patreons releasing, taking the total number of projects to just under 5,000. Adult games represent 2 of the top 10 overall Patreons, and there was more than a 50% subscriber gain in the top 100 adult games Patreons over the last year. While that is continued explosive growth from the boom in 2020, not everything has been awesome. Monster Girl Island was one of the most successful gaming projects on Patreon, and it was removed earlier this year after a disagreement over Patreon requiring additional modifications to the content in-game. It doesn't matter how successful or popular a game is, this space still exists at the whim of powerful organizations like Visa and MasterCard. So let us celebrate the success of 2021. But still remain vigilant to defend our community from forces that would turn back the clock and drag us back into a time of greater censorship, shame, and sexual suppression. Don't get me wrong, this is a fantastic time to be in this industry. 2021 has shown so much variety and growth, and I'm so excited to see what 2022 has in store for us. So here are the top 10 adult gaming Patreons of 2021. At number 10, we have MIDI and their Avatar: The Last Airbender parody, 4 Elements Trainer. This game has been in production since 2016, and there have been 4 major builds released this year as we come closer and closer to a final conclusion. The developer did also release a Teen Titans parody game, 18 Titans, but shelved the project to refocus on 4 Elements Trainer. My review of this game was actually one of my first videos ever, and I absolutely love the Avatar series, and I'm really excited about the upcoming projects. This game is broken up into 4 books based on the 4 elements of the series: Earth, Water, Fire, and Air. Each book has different characters and gameplay mechanics, and while this is sometimes a little unwieldy, it makes for 4 very different but enjoyable experiences. The attention to detail with regards to the lore, art, and animations make this one of the best parody games currently on the market. It is so rare that we ever get to see a completed parody project that I'm both excited and terrified to see how popular this game has become. Hopefully 2022 will bring us an awesome conclusion and not an order to cease and desist. 4 Elements Trainer is available for PC, Mac, and Android on their Patreon. At number 9, we have the newest addition to the top of Patreon with one of the top new Patreons of 2020, Virtual Succubus. This adorable femdom-focused game has exploded in popularity with its subscriber base more than quadrupling in 2021. Based on the JOI, jerk-off instruction style of adult videos, our AI protagonist, Succubus, is here to boss around the player with various orders and tasks. This flavor hasn't seen a lot of content, but it's obvious from how popular this game has become that there are a lot of people who want to be pushed around by an adorable anime avatar. Maybe if we're really lucky, we'll see a V-Shoujo expansion featuring Iron Mouse. Until then, the mini-games, activities, and outfits keep increasing as this game becomes more and more detailed. Seriously, Succubus now gives tasks and assignments for outside of the game, as well as a new system of habits, duties, and commandments. Like, this game is literally giving out homework assignments. But then, I guess homework can be a flavor too. How far will Virtual Succubus continue to grow, and where will Succubus rank at the end of 2022? I have no idea. For all I know, we could be watching the birth of Skynet. If that is the case, then I, for one, welcome our new Succubus overlord. Virtual Succubus is available for PC, Mac, and Android on their Patreon and itch.io. At number 8, we have Breeders of the Nephilim. Development began on this furry and monster-themed crossbreeding odyssey in 2017, and while we have seen 4 major builds released this year, the focus has been on improving the mechanics of the game at the expense of the story and plot development. I seriously have no clue where we are in terms of a roadmap. This game could be completed next year, or it could take another 5. What I do know is that if you enjoy this specific combination of futanari, monsters, furries, and impregnation, there is no other game on the market that comes anywhere near this animated open-world experience. Just watch out for the various surprises along the way. Breeders of the Nephilim is available for PC on their Patreon. At number 7, we have the most popular adult content mod for a mainstream video game ever, Wicked Whims. This is an incredibly comprehensive suite of upgrades and add-ons for The Sims 4. When everyone was locked down during the summer of 2020, this developer saw a tripling of their subscriber numbers, which is amazing if you consider the fact that The Sims 4 is over 7 years old. Wicked Whims adds so much to the core Sims experience. This includes nudity and sexual activities, but there's also birth control, the menstrual cycle, body and sexual preference customization, and so much more. Most importantly, there is a comprehensive system of attraction that dictates the likes, preferences, and behaviors of every sim in the game. I seriously cannot comprehend how much time and energy was put into this mod for the benefit of the Sims community. If you enjoyed The Sims 4, this is a must-have addition to the game. Like most mods, it is a little tricky to install, but the instructions and guides are pretty comprehensive to help you get started. Wicked Whims is available for PC, Linux, and Mac on their Patreon. At number 6, we have the virtual reality sex simulator, Vertimate. So one of the biggest complaints that I get from many of you all is how many games look so similar. This is because most games use HoneySelect or DAVs to create their characters and environments. Vertimate is an attempt to create something similar for developers to use for VR games. Currently, a developer that wants to make a VR game must spend most of their time creating the characters and environment. This makes VR development very, very costly and time-consuming. If Vertimate is successful, then we may see an entirely new generation of VR games created. This is an incredibly ambitious and time-consuming task, and we've only seen one major build released this year for Vertimate. But the characters and interactions are looking more and more fluid than the standard blocky and jerky mess that we are currently stuck with most current VR games. This is a resource-intensive project that you could run in a non-VR format if you want to check it out. I've also been able to get it work pretty decently with my Oculus Quest, but you will need the Oculus link to get it to work. Vertimate is available for PC on their Patreon. At number 5, we have the open world RPG, Wildlife. This is one of the most financially successful Patreons of all time, and in the fall we saw the release of a Kickstarter campaign, an incredible AAA quality preview, and a demo on Steam, which I reviewed. Unfortunately, the Kickstarter failed, when the game didn't even gain more pledges than it currently makes in a month on Patreon. And while I'm sure there is plenty to explore and talk about with regards to how bizarre that whole campaign was, it does beg the question, what now? This game has been in development since 2016 and has brought in over $100,000 a month on Patreon since April. While that does seem like a lot, that is a fraction of what it takes to make a AAA game. As it stands, Wildlife is one of the best open world RPGs in our space, but we are still years from any type of completed project. I am happy to wait years for a project to finish. Well, as long as the finished product isn't another Cyberpunk 2077. So hopefully the developers won't panic and continue to work on this truly intriguing game. Wildlife is available for PC on their Patreon, and there is a free demo for PC on Steam. At number 4, we have Nlt Media and their recently completed sequel to Lost Epidemic, Treasure of Nadia. When I first started the channel back in February, this was the very first developer that I reached out to. This was because not only was this a developer that finished games, but you could see how much they were improving both technically and narratively. I knew at the beginning of 2021 that Treasure of Nadia was on its way to becoming something special. I'm not the only one because NLT has exploded in popularity, almost quintupling its subscriber numbers since the end of 2019. With the recent launch of the third game in this trilogy, The Genesis Order, it is almost guaranteed that we will continue to see this developer rise. Treasure of Nadia is available for PC, Mac, Linux, and SteamOS on Steam, and PC and Mac on their Patreon. At number 3, we have our second newest developer of the top 10, Dr. Pinkcake. Started in 2018, this developer already has one successful completed release, Acting Lessons, as well as my 2020 Game of the Year, Being a Dick. Subscribers have almost tripled in 2021 with the wild success of Being a Dick on Steam. The upcoming release of Season 2 on Steam means that 2022 will likely also be a big year for the studio that is increasingly being seen as the new face of our industry. I covered Season 2 earlier this month, but there have been a noticeable improvement in renders and animations, as well as the addition of new mini-games and mechanics. The story continues to be an irreverent exploration of the college sex comedies in the 1980s and 90s, just with much better hairstyles, outfits, and technology. Being a Dick Season 2 is available for PC and Mac on their Patreon. At number 2, we have Project Helios and their upcoming VR title Operation Lovecraft Fallen Doll. So this has been hard for me to talk about. There is currently a tech demo available to download and play on Steam in both VR and non-VR forms. There's also a closed beta going on through Steam that explores additional features and harem content which I will not be showing you all or talking about. But I think I owe it to you all to explain why. I was incredibly excited for the release of Fallout 76. I love Skyrim and Fallout, and I couldn't wait for the November 2018 release. Bethesda even flew all of these game reviewers and YouTube creators to a hotel in West Virginia and let them play the game for 2 days and share their experiences with the world. The problem was that the entire production was an elaborate hoax. The game that these reviewers played and the game that was sold a month later were nothing alike. How complicit were these reviewers and content creators in this fraud perpetuated on a naive and trusting public? We'll probably never know, but I don't want to put myself in a similar situation, so I don't accept private builds or keys from developers. Every game you see reviewed on this channel is either based off of a free build or that I have purchased off of Patreon, Steam, or itch.io. So I am really excited about Operation Lovecraft Fallen Doll. I love the hair and the outfits, and I really love how fluid the animations are, but I won't be covering content that is closed to the public. The planned Steam release is in mid-2022, so hopefully we won't have to wait too long. Operation Lovecraft Fallen Doll is available for PC and VR and non-VR versions on their Patreon, with a demo for PC on Steam. And the top adult gaming Patreon of 2021, and 2020, and 2019 is Summertime Saga. So this game is so popular that there are entire YouTube channels devoted to this title. I mean, given the number of character arcs and story paths, there is a lot to explore and unpack. I don't think anyone who saw this game when it launched in 2016 would have thought that it would eventually be one of the most flavored, diverse games on the market with an incredible array of mini-games and animations. 2021 also brought the beginning of the endgame for the main story arc, where we will hopefully start to see updates with various happy endings released in 2022. There is still a ways to go, so it will probably be at least another year or two until completion. But then Phineas and Ferb Summer lasted like 8 years. Summertime Saga is available for PC, Mac, Linux, and Android on their Patreon. There you have it! These 10 developers represent an incredibly wide variety of flavors, genres, and products. I'm excited to see if anyone other than Michael Miebach, the CEO of MasterCard, has the power to replace Summertime Saga for the top spot in the 2022 list. Will Being a Dick Season 2 be the breakout hit of 2022? Will the Genesis Order propel Nlt Media to the top? Or will Succubus just order everyone to subscribe to her Patreon as part of the beginning of her conquest of the world? We'll just have to stick around in 2022 to find out. But I'm positive we're all going to have an awesome time. Until next time, no shaming, just gaming. Thanks to all this month's supporters on Patreon. I wouldn't have been able to do this without you.